have a full day in the kitchen today with blogging, and I'm going to take you all along. I've got 2 new recipes that I'm making today to photograph, and I'm excited to share them with you all today. Now, this first recipe was actually a recipe that was requested by a subscriber. It is for sourdough pumpkin biscotti. So biscotti is a twice-baked Italian cookie, and it's a little different dough than what you would make just for a regular cookie, but you could adapt this and use it. Now, you can do a very long fermentation on this, or you can make it quick like I did today. It's been so dreary here with the rain lately that I really picked this day to make both these recipes because the lighting would be good enough. And so that's why I'm making the quick version of this. But normally I would mix this dough up and divide it and put it in the fridge for several days before I actually bake the cookies. It's a simple recipe. I took my traditional sourdough biscotti recipe and just kind of adapted it. So it's pretty much sourdough starter, olive oil, salt, eggs, pumpkin puree, and flour, some vanilla extract, pumpkin pie spice. The full recipe is linked in the description box below, or you can head over to my blog, therosehomestead.com, and click on pumpkin or search pumpkin biscotti to find these. I am using freshly milled flour. You can use any flour that you want. You can use all-purpose flour, bread flour, whole wheat flour, or a combination of any of those, and it still turns out really good. So I think that the flour combination I had ground up here was hard red and kamut. It's been a favorite of mine lately. I've been using it in my artisan bread. I've been using it in lots of different recipes. So since everybody's kitchen is different, you want to make sure that you don't add too much flour. You want just enough flour to have like a cookie dough consistency, and it may vary. I have a lot of people say on recipes, I added the amount of flour that you called for and it was soupy or it was wet. Should I add more? My recommendation with any baking is add just enough flour for the recipe that you're making. So say you're making a bread dough, you want to add just enough flour that it pulls away from the side of the bowl. For this recipe, you're looking for a thick cookie dough, and it is much thicker than like a batter or something like that. It's I'm not really like looking for cleaning the side of the bowl. I'm looking for a cookie dough that is still moist, but that I can divide and shape, if that makes sense. And so you'll see as I continue to add the flour, I added it slowly because I didn't want to overdo with that. I think I added right at 3.5 cups of the freshly milled flour. I think this was the last maybe quarter cup that I added, and it was perfect. So just be mindful of that. For this recipe, I would add 3 cups, and then I would maybe just add a quarter cup at a time to get, as you can see, a thick cookie dough. You don't want it to be really sticky, if that makes sense. And then I put a little bit of flour on my silicone mat, and I put the cookie dough over there. And this is the point where you can divide it into 2 and shape it into 2 logs. They're not really, they don't have to be like perfect, because we're going to cut these once they bake, because it's twice baked. And you just want to kind of make like a little, I made like a rectangle that's probably 2 inches 1.5 to 2 inches thick. I don't measure it. So, but you can see it here, and on the blog there are pictures, and you can kind of gauge how big, and you can make it as big or as small as you want. That's a great thing about baking something like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to measure it or try to make it exact. You just want it to be thick enough that when you cut out the biscotti after it has baked for a while, that you have decent sized pieces. So once I'm done there, I'm going to put these 2 logs on a parchment lined baking sheet. Now this is the point where you can put it in the fridge for up to a week, and it will be a cold, long fermented. That's what I normally do, but because we finally had some sunshine, I decided I got to make these quick. And I really didn't think we were going to have sunshine today, but it came out and I got excited. And so I went ahead and made them. You're going to put them in the oven, 350 for 30 minutes. And then we're going to take them out and let them cool for about 10 or 15 minutes. And we're going to cut the slices and get them back in the oven. So you want to slice these to 1/2 to 3/4 inch thick slices, and then we're going to put them back on the baking sheet and put them back in the oven. And because these have pumpkin in them, they are quite a bit more moist than the ones that are just the traditional sourdough biscotti. So these are going to bake a little longer than those. Those, I think I left maybe 15 minutes in the oven for the second bake. These are more along 20 to 25 minutes. And what you're looking for is for them to be crisp and not too hard, but definitely not like a soft batch cookie. So you want them to have some texture to them. So we're going to get these back in the oven. I think I went around 22, 23 minutes, and then we're going to get them out and enjoy them after our dinner today. So before I start the second recipe, I am going to be making another recipe that is coming up on the blog pretty soon, sometime in October. And this is for a homemade maple syrup or pancake syrup. It's so good. I don't know about y'all, but man, maple syrup has gotten so expensive, and I'm frugal. And I was always looking for some way to make like an alternative, and if you use the right ingredients, it's really not that bad. So it is 1 cup of organic raw sugar. This is like raw sugar. It's brown, it's not processed, it's kind of got a lot of texture to it, and water, and then some all natural maple extract. And I'm telling you, it's just as good as the store-bought. And my husband actually has been preferring this because he said the store-bought seemed like it's watered down lately and it doesn't have a lot of flavor. This has the flavor, so be looking for that to come out on the vlog really soon, and we're going to use this on our dinner this evening. So you'll see me putting some frozen berries that we picked on the place here in a pot. I put a little bit of water, and I'm going to let those cook down while I make sourdough crepes. Oh, I'm so excited to share this with you all. It's the easiest recipe. You can use sourdough discard. It's just sourdough starter, eggs, a little bit of milk, and a little bit of olive oil and some salt. And you fry them in a cast iron skillet. It's a really thin batter. And so you can use a crepe pan if you have one. I don't have one, and I wasn't going to buy one just to make these, so I used my cast iron skillet. You can use a nonstick skillet. And they are so delicate, soft, and so good. My husband said, you need to make these more often because, you know, it's one of those recipes that you think, oh, that's probably going to be hard to make because crepes, it sounds fancy, I guess. Excuse me. And you may think, well, I need a crepe pan or I need to have some kind of skill. No, these are really, really easy. As long as your pan is non-stick, no problem. So I sprayed my pan with a little bit of olive oil, and I take a 1/4 cup of this very thin batter. And as soon as you put it in there, you want to start rolling the pan around so that that batter pours all over the bottom of that pan. It's really thin, soft, and so delicious because they're made with sourdough starter. And all you have to do is let them set up for about 2-3 minutes, and then we flip them over. Now, I've tried different ways, but I actually prefer the crepes to be folded. And like I said, it's up to you. If you want to roll them up with something inside, that would be delicious as well. But we like them folded and then put some toppings like these berries and that homemade syrup on top, and it made for one of the most delicious meals. Even though it was dinner time, we devoured these, and we even had the pumpkin scones or biscotti afterwards. So it was kind of a sweet evening, and we don't do that very often. But as you can see, really simple to make sourdough crepes. I was surprised when I first started trying them out. I thought it would be a disaster, and I didn't even know if I would be able to write the blog post, but it turned out to be so much easier than what I thought. So here's that berry mixture. I just cooked it down really thick, and I put it on top of our crepes and drizzled it with the homemade syrup, and it was absolutely delicious. Well, I hope you all will go try these recipes. If you do, please tag me over on Instagram or send me a Facebook message. I love seeing your all's recipes and your pictures. And I hope that you enjoyed this video and spending a day with me in my kitchen as I made some brand new recipes for the blog. Head over there, therosehomestead.com, for all kinds of recipes. And we will see you all on the next video.